back. So we're at the point in the game where, Protoss is getting up core. What I mean by core is they have their Templars and they're getting up like Zealot speed, Dragoon range, and later Observers. Once they have all of that, then they have their core units. And Zerg really needs a lot of drones to deal with that. And you need to get it out before Protoss has their core units out. And so here is where Zerg wants to be making just another round of drones and another hatchery. And at that point, they're probably safe to just start massing and seeing if they can fight Protoss straight up. If Zerg can get on top of those Dragoons, they would be doing well, but... Looks like Protoss is doing an early push with Dragoons. This one, if they surprise the Zerg opponent with this fast attack, it can be good, but ideally you never want to make Dragoons before your Templars, because they both cost gas, and a later Templar means less energy. So these Dragoons were probably okay because he killed a lot of Zerglings with that push, but you do need to do something with Dragoons if you make them before Templar, because you're giving up the Templar energy. So I like the saturation at the third, at the natural, and the main is a little bit low. There should be about 3 to 4 more drones there. Along with that, we're on 5 hatches, and really to deal with Protoss, who has core units out, which is like Templar, Goon range, Zealot speed, you need to have about 7 hatcheries. So, Zerg has a lot of units. It's just needs still to do a couple more rounds of drones and hatcheries. Also, I'd like to see a Zergling at each base. Right now, Zerg is kind of in the dark as to what bases Protoss may or may not have taken. And then last thing is that we're also entering the stage in the game where Hydras become practically useless. And I say that point is when Protoss gets up 3 gas. So at that point, you should almost not be making Hydras at all. Because you'll see here, when Protoss has 3 gas, they just have too many storms. And so you really just need lurkers, and you need to spread them along with Sunkens. So if we have lurkers coming up, we could still defend. It just depends if that's being researched. Oh, the other thing, this hatchery, so I would like the 4th base to be at the mineral only, up at the top left. Because that gives more of like a clean, nice little area for Zerg. That's a little bit far away. Over there at the 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. Okay, so we have lurker eggs on the way, and that's really good. So now should be morphing all that he can into lurkers. Just nothing but lurkers here. Maybe too late. These lurkers were quite late. This is something else I see a lot of, is Zergs in this matchup tend to undermake lurkers. So like he has 1400 gas, but isn't morphing 14 lurkers, which legitimately the right play here is to make lurkers with all of your gas. You know, there's really no such thing as too many lurkers in the matchup. They are incredible units. Okay, I like the creep colony. So I think he defends because Pertussis skipped out on an observer. But again, there's only so long he can last with the drone count like this and the hatchery count like this. And some of this is just a byproduct of taking that gas too early. You know, what I'm saying here is he needs more drones and more hatcheries. That's all mineral-based infrastructure that he needs. And he is low on minerals just because of that early game gas timing. And the earlier gas did allow for earlier mutas, but they just did not do enough to make it worth it. Okay, good. So he's making lots of lurkers, and that's what you want to see. You should be using up all of the gas for lurkers, though. And, you know, preferably also putting down a second Evo and going into some speedlings as well. But it's still going to be hard regardless, because Pertussis has quite a few units right now. Yeah, so this is going to be very tough. I even got a drop off. Oh, so this is really nice. So this is again why you want lurkers, is because they are amazing at zoning. So you saw, like, even with that huge army, just 3 lurkers right outside the bridge completely destroyed it. And so they may not be as mobile as Hydras, but they certainly are amazing at just holding a position. So we're forced to redrone here. This game is going to be difficult, but the only thing Zerg can do at this point is just continue to mass up their lurker count and try and get back that expand at the mineral only. You know, it's all you can do from this point is just tighten up your defenses. Oh, that's a good catch on these units. Oof. So, if you see how that fight, that's what I mean. Once Protoss gets up 3 gas, they basically have unlimited Templar. So while that looked like a good fight for Zerg, in reality, they're trading favorably because Hydras cost so many minerals and Templars cost so few minerals, and it's not like you're low on gas when you're Protoss with 3 gas. That's not a concern. So that trade, even when caught out, was actually good for Protoss just because they were fighting Hydras. And so once Protoss gets up their 3 gas, you need to be transitioning into almost entirely just lurkers. Just spamming lurkers like crazy. Like, all of your mineral income should be going into like drones or you know, evolution chambers / zerglings, and all of your gas should be going into hydras. So like right now there's still about 1300 gas, so I would like to see like 13 more lurkers. Though I will say this is a very difficult situation to get out of. This is just part of the issue is Pertussis has much easier time macroing in this matchup. So, you know, if you play the regular Hydra style, you'll get in a position where, you know, it just feels like Protoss is just has unlimited units and is just throwing them at you. Zerg macro is just straight up more difficult than Protoss macro.
Hey Hawk, we did have Keen ask a question in the chat. He says, if you end up in a disadvantageous position like that, and you do manage to stabilize, what do you think the pathway to a comeback looks like from here after the lurkers, that is?
So the pathway revolves around the lurker. So what the lurker does is it says, like, if you want to attack me, you're going to need to do it into my zoned position. And what that means is it's saying at some point Protoss is going to get maxed, like right now. And Zerg's still not maxed. And so if Protoss wants to use up their higher income, they're going to need to take an unfavorable trade. And that's how you come back in the game. And so Protoss has two choices. One, I either attack into him and I trade unfavorably, or two, I don't attack into him and bank up all my money, and Zerg gets to max out as well. And a Zerg is always stronger maxed out. Here we have a third option, which if Protoss is ridiculously far ahead, they can go do, which is Arbiter, is legitimately an option. And that'll just end the game. So, but normally when you're behind, you do just want to build up a position, you know, mostly lurkers, some Sunkens, and just say, look, you're maxed. If you want to trade out your maxed army, you're gonna need to go into my already burrowed lurkers. Meanwhile, what you should be doing is taking the expands that you can, getting optimal droning, and just triple evo, like full on. I'm not going to leave this position kind of deal. That's the only way back. So, I do want to point out, because this is pretty important, just look how many minerals are in the Zerg's main still. You know, it's something close to about 2,000 minerals. And at the same time, Protoss completely mined out about a minute ago out of their main. So, a minute before this, Protoss had already mined 2,000 more minerals from its main. And that's just not something that you can allow as a Zerg player. And part of that extra minerals was just one worker count, but also it was the earlier gas. Okay. Do you want to do the replay or?
Yeah, we should do the replay after the game.
Yeah, this part is really up to you, Hawk. We're gonna have the player rejoin the call. And you can take him through the replay, or if there's like something that, like, if you want to see him play another game, you can like live coach him through another game, or you can
quickly the replay, and then we'll do another game right after.
All right, sure. It's up to you. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I just want to show him the gas timing and also just some other stuff, but we can do it quickly.
big part, like observing that, it looked like it was bad, was just how easily the Protoss got to take a third, and then the Zerg stayed on 3 for so long. It made it hard to take the 4th later, but maybe I'm misreading that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I agree.
Hello?
Hi. Okay, let's load up the replay, and we'll kind of walk you through that game. What do you think about the game? Where do you think you went wrong?
I don't know, I was very confused by play. I didn't really know what to do, so I kind of panicked.
Yeah.
And I got supply blocked a lot and I had problems using my money because I was a lot of replay.
Yeah. Do you feel like you defended the 2-gate well?
I think I overreacted.
Okay. We can kind of watch it in the replay. I thought your defense was actually perfect on the 2-gate. You lost some lings on like the second fight when you could have ran away, but you had an advantage in the position after that. Like you got your 3rd hatch up. You started it early, which is good, and you got the sunken up. So I thought your defense on that one was actually really good. But we'll kind of go into where I think it kind of fell through in the game.
So. Staff 2 sticks to X4.
Okay, let's do X2.
I got a bit surprised by the amount of cores here.
Yeah, how early they were. And he pushed with Dragoons as well, which made it more difficult. So, oh yeah, that's something I didn't think of. But yeah, immediately when you scout Stargate, even if you have Mutalisks, you do want to make a couple of Scourge. And that would have helped out a lot in the fight. Yeah, I completely forgot about that part. I really like this game because I think 2-gate is an especially underrated build. It can be quite tricky for Zergs to deal with, just because Protoss gets a ton of minerals when they do this build.
They're quite adaptable.
Yeah, so it's good. You started Zerglings right away when you scouted that there's nothing at the natural, right? Which means that it has to be 2-gates. And I think you could have started the 3rd hatch here, but it was soon after, so it wasn't like a big deal. The important part is that you started your 3rd hatch. Oh, you were waiting for that turn. Yeah, that's completely fine. That's really good. So that's what I mean. This defense, starting a 3rd hatch in your base, is perfect. I would start like a creep colony immediately as well when it finished, but it's completely fine to, have it a little bit later. Okay, and you got the probe kill and you got some damage on Zealots again. All of this is really good. You started the creep colony. One thing I would like to see here is, now that you see his 4 Zealots, just run away with the Zerglings, No reason to fight. Just run away.
Okay.
So he got a lot of extra hits while you were trying to surround him. So this one was a little bit iffy, but once you got that sunken up, you're actually ahead here, legitimately. Now here comes the problem. I think immediately what you do, so let's check your drone count. You have 9 drones on minerals. That means that you don't have any drones to spare, because you have all of this excess larva, which is a good thing. But you need to be using it on drones as quickly as possible. And so this gas was taken way too early. It should not be saturated. And I say that because if we pause, so like what we have is, instead of 8 drones, which is the number of excess larvae, we have a slightly faster layer and slightly more gas. Now, that's worth something, but you have to ask yourself whether it's really worth 8 drones earlier. And so this is where I think the advantage is kind of lost and it becomes an even game, is this early gas just completely destroys your economy. Because instead of having those 8 drones, you just have a faster layer. Do you agree?
Yeah, the idea I had was that if he goes 2 gates, gas and expand, won't have time to get Stargate to stop Vigilant, and I'll be able to harass, regain map third. As the game went too late, so we get Stargate. So it's obvious, right? Yeah, that's
So it's a very high risk, low return. So you're right. He was being a little bit greedy. His gas is late. He's going for expands out of this. But at the same time, you did commit to a 3rd hatchery. So you should use the larva from your 3rd hatchery. If you had stayed on 2 hatches, then yeah, sure, fast tech was fine. Because you have that extra minerals, you could be making drones with all of your larvae. But you committed to a 3rd hatchery. And that means that when you commit to something, you should almost always use it.
fair point.
Hmm?
Fair.
Yeah.
Need extra larva. Don't have me a larva.
Right. So we can go X4 from here, and you'll start to see this early gas is going to start just pulling your income down compared to the Protosses. So we can just go like ×4, ×8, something like that. And you get to the point in the game, and this happens with a lot of Zergs who take their gases too early and don't have enough mineral income for the rest of the game, is you don't have very many minerals, but you have a ton of gas. And usually what that means is your economy was just messed up early.
True, I had a lot of gas and I didn't know how to try to.
Yeah, so I'd still say it's an even game. Like here, it's good. You droned after the mutas. I would even drone even more. And same thing. The 2nd gas was too early as well. So you can even pause here. So the 3rd is barely fully saturated. I would say it could be more, but you have 910 gas. So there's really no reason to take that 2nd gas this early. It would be better if you had just focused minerals more, so you could be massing up Hydras for defense or making more hatcheries and more drones. Especially in Zerg versus Protoss, you just need the early minerals to get up the hatcheries and drones to combat them later on. Okay, so we can just run through the rest of it. So like right here, I would have liked another round of drones, take the mineral only, while getting up lurker tech. So one other thing is, once Pertussis has their third gas, you can't make Hydras anymore. Hydras are trash units when Pertussis has 3 gas. All of your Hydras should be converted into lurkers, except for maybe like 3 to deal with Corsairs. But Hydras are practically worthless units once they have 3 gas. They just have unlimited storms.
I felt that.
And so
I should move up to Hive if they have the gap.
yeah, you can go into Hive, that's fine. More importantly, you just need really good upgrades, and you need a lot of lurkers. Hive you'll get eventually, and it's okay not to get it right away. It's just you need a ton of lurkers, so like all of that gas should be going into like 14 more lurkers, or even some Scourge. But, I mean, a lot of this is, it's just difficult to play, because throughout the game you just have so much more gas, just because your mineral economy has been kind of wrecked early on. So like, if we pause here, if you notice in your main, you have about 2,000 minerals, whereas Protoss has already mined out their main. A lot of that is just due to the lack of drones on it. Lost auto drop. Yeah, I know, but it was also still early game dronage. But anyway, I think that's entire game.
Makes sense, but since I sacrificed the economy by not getting a charger, I should focus more on more hatch.
Yeah, just be very careful about your gas timing. Like, very, very careful, because I'll say it like this. An early gas, like a gas too early, destroys your economy forever. There's no making it back up, because your economy is based off of hatcheries and drones, and those are all mineral based. Whereas a later than normal gas can be fixed, because you can always just take your second or third gas earlier if you did your first one too late. So taking an early gas is very, very risky. Taking a later gas can be fixed. Your tech's going to be a little bit later, but that's fine. It's not going to mess up your economy forever. So just be very careful about when you mine gas. And make sure you're not doing it at the expense of minerals.
So I have a question, given how you guys were talking about it. You're very focused on the early drones being a problem and like good times to take rounds of drones. But you didn't really focus on like he should have taken a 4th base faster, he should have denied the Protoss from taking it. How come the focus is so much on drones and not expansions for you?
Because he can't take expansions because he doesn't have the mineral income to do it. And he couldn't make extra hatcheries, and he couldn't make the drones that he needed, all because he didn't have the mineral income. So it's all a part of it. I agree the expansion should have been faster, but if you look at his income and you look at the Protoss's army, at any point in which he tried to make the base earlier on, it could have been killed, so it would have been very risky. I agree in your point, though. Again, you do need a 4th and all of that, but it's difficult without a good initial economy to kind of afford that.
Since I didn't have the early economy.
Yeah.
the army protect and take it.
Yeah.
Why I got denied my. It's off it.
It's just tricky. I mean, Zerg has by far the hardest economy to manage. The simplest advice to follow is just, again, be very careful with your first cast timing. Make it late is fine, early is not. And we can try another one.
You guys are actually about kind of at the limit for the amount for one player. It depends on how late you want to run the masterclass. We're about an hour in because we had some technical difficulties. I was planning on doing like 50 minutes per player. So if we can push it a little bit more, but it's going to push everyone else as well. So just keep that in mind. And then the class will end up being longer.
Well, we can say this. I'm okay with doing more. At the end of each player's 50 minutes, so like I'll still rotate them out after 50 minutes, and then at the end of it, if someone wants to come back and still do more, I'm okay with that. But that way, someone at the end of it who may have to go after their scheduled time, they still get the right slot. But I'm okay.
All right.
That sounds like a good way to do it.
Sure. Yeah, sounds good. I think Return has to go to sleep, but might work for the other two.
Okay.
I watched the stream and I'm awake.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Yep.
For I'll think about this.
All right, I think we have Keen is going to be up next. He should be in the Masterclass channel. And he's going to play Tim.
Strom, since we have a little bit of downtime setting up between games, is there any viewer questions that were asked during this?
Right, there was one more. We did have somebody ask a question that is it better to make a habit of playing the game into late game, i.e. playing defensively, or should I be looking for an opportunity to end the game when possible? I know this depends on my strength in terms of micro versus macro, whatnot, but for the long run and overall improvement, is it good to play to get to late game, or is it better to play aggressively?
It depends. Okay, late game is the hardest part about this game, but even at the highest level, not many games make it to late game. And the reason for that is that this game allows so many opportunities to be greedy and to do things you technically, if players were paying attention, shouldn't be allowed to do. So, for example, let's say that a Protoss scouts you doing, I don't know, Overpool. And he goes Pylon, Nexus, Forge, Cannon. Super greedy, right? And you say, no, I want to take this to late game. You know, I'm a macro player, right? I'm not going to attack him and rush his cannon down. Okay. You're going to lose. Straight up. Why? Because if you allow Protoss to be that greedy and you went for an Overpool to be safe, he just has a huge advantage. In fact, he has such a big advantage, he can straight up just go for a Corsair Speedlot attack, and it's going to be hell to defend it. So, the problem you have when you come into a game thinking, I want to go to late game, is that a lot of times you allow players to do things they should not be allowed to do. And to be too greedy. Let's say they take a third too early. Well, you need to attack it. Straight up. It's... And this happens at all levels, is you'll get players that, even pros do this all the time, where they're relying on people not being vigilant in their scouting and not having the wherewithal to just go for a timing attack. And if you allow them just one little greedy move, or a couple little greedy moves, that's it. For the rest of the game, they have a huge advantage, or even a big enough advantage to just straight up win. So, I prefer timing attacks. On the other end, if your timing attack doesn't work, you shouldn't just leave the game. You should still try and hold out to late game and play it out. Overpool sucks. That's my opinion on it. In every single matchup, Overpool sucks as a build. That being said, it doesn't lose to anything, and that's why people do it. But it also does not get ahead against any build, and I think is actually slightly behind every single build in every single matchup. The reason why people do it against Protoss is Zergs are content with being slightly behind so long as they get to play Protoss. You know, they're pretty confident in the matchup, a lot of the pro Zergs. That's why people do Overpool in this matchup. And that's why you also don't see Overpool in like versus Zerg and versus Terran, because those are harder matchups and they don't want to be slightly behind. That's just my opinion on it. You know, you'll never lose doing Overpool, but you're playing from behind, slightly, not a huge amount, but behind. So here we have one gate. This is legitimately, I think, the hardest build for Zerg to deal with. Well, I say that, but Java's actually destroying it. So I like this a lot. He's losing a lot of links here. That's not worth it. Oh, if he gets a Zealot. Of Ziffy. So, one thing with 1-8 is that Pertussis will mainly go like Gate, Nexus, Forge, and that's actually the greedy version of it. Just know that, you know, if the Pertussis keep on doing that, you can usually punish them for it if you just make lots of lings and attack them. But it's also risky. So here in this game, I would say again, the gas is a little bit early. I think he'll take off though after speed. If he takes off after speed, it'll be fine. Oh, so he's going Hydra then. So that gas is way too early then. So same thing. Just look at the mineral. He has, you know, well, he took one off, but he had 6 drones on minerals. I mean, come on. You're really losing 3 mineral drones in your main just for a faster gas? I mean, what is that gas really achieving? And at the same time, you can see like the idle larva is, it's not as bad as the other game. Just 2 idle. Okay. But at the same time, you can see he's not really using the gas. So that's why, like, let's say if he used the gas to invest into layer or like Hydroden, you'd have a lot more idle larva. Still, it's a good decision that he didn't do that. He prioritized drones over doing like options with his gas and minerals. Protoss is making 3 cannons. I really like this. I think Protosses just need to prioritize surviving. It could be. Either way, I think he made the right choice, whether it's from the scout or not. The Protoss could have ended up helping him if he did do that because of the scout. Because even if he's going for a Hydra attack, he should be prioritizing drones early on. So now he has 10 drones in his main, which is good. He has 8 drones in his natural and has, you know, a fair number in his third, which is fine. You can start making Hydrous now. And one of the checks you can see to make sure you have enough minerals is just check the Pertussis worker count. You know, he has, what, 10 in his natural and something like probably 16 in his main. Well, you have probably just the same amount of mineral income as they do. So. I like that he's has most of his overlords at the natural. So if you make Hydras, you should be greed checking them. And by greed checking, I mean once you clear the wall, if they have fewer than, let's say, 6 cannons, you should be able to kill them. Of course, a lot of times you don't have the sight range to actually check that, and so that's why I said Hydras. And that's why you just need to kind of go in with the Hydras and Lings. And usually people go in with the Lings first, and so they'll just check how many cannons there are. If there's less than 6, they just continue attacking and kill them off. If there's more than 6, okay, they lose the Zerglings. That's fine. They just back off. And yeah, it sucks you lost the Zerglings, but you need to check whether Protoss has been greedy. Because if they get away with making 4 cannons, then it's going to be a really difficult game for you. So this is probably going to show it. You know, Protoss got away with 4 cannons, so he has 4 gates up, or coming up. He has a Robo already done. He has Templar Archives already done. Oh, it's just such a nice game for him. He's feeling very comfortable. And because of that, you know, he gets out this shuttle that we see. It's yeah, he still got it. Yeah, it's gonna be trouble. Cool. Yep. It's a lot of drones. So this is the point in the game. It's tough. You know, hopefully he gets out lurkers pretty soon, because that's what he's gonna need. But you know, you just need to find a way to get out your 7 to 8 hatcheries and your tons of drones. That's all you can do once they get up. You know, these 8 gateways, storm, soon to be zealot speed, dragoon range, all of that stuff. I mean, you got to switch off of Hydra somehow, and you need to get up a lot of economy. So let's see if he's upgrading lurkers. Okay, yeah, those are the lurkers. So immediately when you start building those, what I want to see is like 12 drones, go up to max saturation, get enough drones that you don't care about building the Evos and Queen's Nest later on, and place down another hatchery. That's what I want to see immediately when those lurkers start building. So right now he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hatcheries, which is nice. Could probably go for 9. You fully saturate. I like his gas timing at his 3rd. It wasn't too early, not too late. Pretty well. Attacking can be a bit dangerous here, because if Protoss gets Zerg before they can set up with the lurkers, then it can be trouble. So let's see if he can space them out before Pertussis gets there. Yep. So that's just the problem with attacking with lurkers, is he was spending all of his time controlling them that he missed out on his Hydras. And they got, stormed for it. But he scouted the third, it's not the end of the world. It's quite low on drones in his main and his fourth. So again, I would like to see, maybe like another 10 drones or so. And it does hurt that he lost 5 lurkers there. I mean, lurkers are the backbone of your army. Once it reaches this stage where Pertussis is getting up their third gas, I mean, lurkers are really all that you have that can deal with Storm. And taking trades like this, I mean, 7 Hydras for 1 Templar, you can do it when Pertussis is on 2 gas, but once they hit that third gas, it's just, you can't just keep on trading that many minerals for Pertussis' 150 gas, because they'll just build more. Oh, yeah, gas timing, only start mining it once you've used up all of your larvae for drones. If you're too poor on minerals to continually use up your larvae on drones, then you're taking your gas too early. So this is getting a bit dangerous. This is where the early lurker deaths is gonna be difficult to deal with. Needs to get some of the overlords out of the way as well. Looks like he should be able to defend still, though. He just needs to keep his lurker count high. I know it's scary defending this, but at the end of the day, if you don't re-drone your natural and your main, you're gonna lose anyway. So I know it's scary to just make drones when he's pushing you like this, but you gotta do it. It's not a choice. You just can't play the game with 7 drones in your main and 8 drones in your natural. Yeah, it depends on the map. So like on this one, certainly you can build a creep colony at the high ground expansion in a sunken. And you can probably build a creep colony at your natural. But for the most part, because you have such a wide area you need to defend, you don't want to invest too much in sunkens. It depends on the map, though. Some maps you can do it better than others, where one creep can defend more than one base. That's the ideal. So I like it. He's getting up more lurkers. At this stage, though, he should be feeling comfortable enough to re-drone his main. It looks like he's getting a couple more. It's just, wish I got him a little bit earlier. So I like this. This is like the little bit different, kind of similar to last game what we saw, but taking a different approach. And we see the huge number of lurkers that we have, and this is going to keep him in the game. But he needs to continually make them. So he can't just make one round and then decide, well, I'm done with lurkers, I have enough. Basically, lurkers are incredible versus Pertussis. like, nothing is more broken than having 30 lurkers against Protoss. Oof, so we have some good storms. He needs to kind of reinforce a little bit. Sending his army in now, and that's good. We see, you know, Protoss is a much larger army, but he's able to fend off the army, at least so far. He doesn't want to lose those eggs, but... yeah, you want to be a little bit careful. So what Tim is doing is he's allowing his Dragoons to just hold position. And whenever Dragoons are stationary, they're the best unit in the entire game. Dragoons, when holding still, are amazing units. They have absurdly high range, they hit like a truck, and they don't glitch when they're stationary. They're not spazzy, glitchy units whenever they're standing still. And so you always want to be very careful when Protoss does this to Zerg, where they just sit their Dragoons in the middle of your bases, not to run into them. You only want to attack when their Dragoons are moving like this. See how immediately when his Dragoons start moving forward, all of them start dying? It's this situation is what he should have waited for. But maybe a bit too late. Looks like Zerg might be broken here. Still, we have, I think, 3 Evos, is that right? Or just 2? Yeah, just 2. Yeah, this is gonna be a bit tough for Zerg. So, again, one of the problems is you just need your lurker count to remain high, and looks like we've already lost a few too many of them. And the other thing is that we do need a 3rd Evo, because, you know, the crack upgrade for Zerglings doesn't do very well unless you have melee upgrades. So I would have prioritized a 3rd evolution chamber over Hive. Yeah. So that lurker is doing like 100 damage per shot, but there's just not enough damage or units, unfortunately. Yeah, GG. So it's not a good idea. Oh, hey, what's up?
Let me this through.
Okay. So what do you think went wrong that game?
Yo, Keen, you should probably let Hawk host the replay so that he can control it.
Sure.
Okay, sure. I mean, I felt like a lot of things went wrong that game. I mean, I kind of felt like I got a pretty decent early advantage with the the Zealot trades, but then I after getting like a free Zealot, I kind of wasted more lings after that trying to attack up the ramp.
Okay.
And then I let myself get scouted when I was trying to go 3-Hatch Hydra as a follow-up, which isn't great, but it was also kind of a bad position for me to do it, I think, against him, because his wall was really good, and it was kind of, obviously I didn't end up getting any damage off there, which hurt. But it's really hard
What's
for
the
me
password so Sat Zero can get in the replay?
I end up in these late game situations a lot where it's really hard for me to go past 4 bases and stay on par with Protoss in economy.
Yeah.
And then not just get overrun by the 3-4 gas late game.
So I liked your idea with going for Hydra, which is a timing attack build. The problem was that the timing attack never happened, and if you watch in this replay, Protoss got away with being very greedy. So even though he scouted your Hydras and he had no further information afterwards, he only built 4 cannons. That was it. He had nothing. And if you had gone for a few more Hydras instead of the extra hatcheries early, you just kill him. Straight up.
Okay, yeah, I felt like I had to, when I got scouted, I immediately felt like I had to just transition to a macro game, because I assumed I wouldn't be able to get anything done really with the Hydras.
Nah, the problem with that is you've already invested in the earlier gas and the Hydra Den, and so once you make that investment, you have to go for the attack, at least to greed check them. You need to check them for being greedy. Now, if immediately when you go for the attack you see, 7 cannons, fine, just back off. But you need to at least go for the attack to the extent where you see that they've made the proper defense.
Right, I have to force some kind of reaction. I can't just give up.
Yep, you need to at least check them. Say like, hey, are you respecting my timing attack?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that was the first thing, was that he just simply had an advantage from the beginning, and that's why it kind of felt like a difficult game. He got away with being greedy. Early game with the Zealot, I thought you came out even on that one. I thought it was fine. Oh, right. I have control of it.
And then, of course, the drops did pretty bad damage. I always forget to have an overlord in my main against.
Yeah. So at one point when you made the lurkers, right, the 5 lurker attack, that hurt a lot.
Yeah.
So just be very careful if you're attacking with lurkers. Lurkers are just so much worse when attacking.
I think that was a bit of a panic move for me, because I felt like I was so behind after the drop did so much economic damage. So I felt like I needed to force something, but then I didn't get any damage done really. I just lost a bunch of stuff myself.
Yeah, I would say it's one of those times, just greed check them again. Lurkers are really only good when attacking if they don't have observers. So you could probably achieve the same thing by just putting 1 lurker at their 3rd and just saying like, hey, do you have an observer to kill this?
Right, yeah, that sounds a lot better than what I did for sure.
Yeah, and he did happen to have an observer, and so just losing those 5 lurkers hurt a lot, because I think after that you were a bit scared to drone, as you should have. So you'll see on your main for a really long time there were only 7 drones.
Oh yeah, I felt like I had to make units or I would just die.
Yep. So it's one of those things, it sucks, and I know it's terrifying to make drones when he's literally at your base with an army. You have to, because you just have to accept you're going to lose anyway if you don't. And the only
Yeah.
way to win is make drones, hope he messes up the attack or doesn't attack. Because,
I have to cut corners somewhere. I can't just.
yep, when you're behind, you have to gamble. And in that case, your best gamble was to make drones. So here you see he even cancels the 5th cannon. And this is the point where I was like, oh no, he made the 4th and 5th hatcheries. Like, you know, if you're gonna make a Hydra den, you're gonna get the Hydra upgrades, you gotta pump out the Hydras more, you know?
Yeah. I mean, is there like a rough figure or like a rule of thumb you would give for like the minimum amount of Hydras you should make? Or is it still just like a play it by ear?
Minimum is 12 at his base.
Okay.
1 full control group with these lings, because even 12 would kill 4 cannons if you micro it right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not super confident against gate fast expands. I really want to work on my response to it, so I'm still kind of like figuring stuff out with it.
Here I would still say you're fine though. I mean, 35 drones is fine. You know, you're getting up lurker upgrades, I think, right? Yeah. And ranged attack. That drop hurt, but
yeah, to say the least.
Same thing. You know, he's at 2 gas. Protoss on 2 gas when he just gave up 2 Templars, a shuttle, and a High Templar for just drones. You should be feeling comfy here. Like, look at his army. He has nothing. You know, only 4 Templar, and you have lurkers coming. You know, if you
yeah, if I hadn't lost those initial lurkers I made, I would be like.
You could literally make 20 drones here and feel good.
Yeah.
And actually, that's what I would probably do, is make up to 60 drones. And straight up just power them out, because he has nothing to attack you with, to deal with those lurkers.
I was so flustered in game after the drop, I didn't really consider how damaged his army composition would be losing those gas units.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, again, when Protoss is on 2 gas, every Templar matters. So you just need to think about it like, if he's trading Templars for anything, that's fine. You know, you shouldn't really care. But if he does that drop on 3 gas, then yeah, it would hurt you a lot. That would really suck. That's just all there is to think about.
Right.
So here it's difficult. It's a hard game. Here I would just gamble though. Just hope, you know, your lurker setup looks scary enough he doesn't attack into you. And just, you gotta...
and here I get supply block for a while too, which really hurt. Like, I was definitely thinking I was just going to die. Because I saw he didn't have stairs on the map, so I wanted to spread overlords out, but I just put them right in the middle of the field. It's just...
Yeah.
To just die, which is awful.
Yep. And I know, it sucks, and it's like the worst thing in the world to see this attack like this, and then you go like, you know what I'm gonna do here after you just pushed me this far? I'm gonna do a round of drones. But you just have to.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing is you need a 3rd Evo. More important than getting Hive is a 3rd Evo.
Okay.
Because your cracklings won't matter if you don't have the melee upgrades for them.
Right.
They'll be doing like, you know, 2 damage each hit.
We just got a raid from Gypsy. So shout out to Gypsy. Thank you for the raid. Just for anyone who's just tuning in now, this is a CPL Masterclass with Hawk. So we have Hawk, great North American Zerg player here, teaching some upper level CPL students. We have him working through some DVP right now with Keen, who just played a game against Arcade him.
Yeah, so welcome to everyone who joined. Hopefully you learn a lot, and hopefully there's a lot of aspiring Zerg players. I don't think there's too much more to this game. At this point, you know, it's gonna be very difficult because we don't have that third Evo. One of the other things is just you want your army to be a little bit closer to your lurkers, so like you got to trade with them,
Right.
without your army attacking. But honestly, it's just a matter of army size and just not enough lurkers. Like the 5 lurkers early on would have been helpful. Oh, one other point to touch on. You see this? If you let's pause. You don't want to engage onto this. Dragoons, when stationary, are broken units. They're the best units in the game. So like you see how they're not moving at all?
Yeah.
Never, even if they're in this uncomfortable position between your bases, never ever attack into that. Because they're broken. They're never going to die. They're going to hit like a truck, and they don't glitch when they're stationary. And they're also can cluster closer together. They're overpowered when they're stationary.
Yeah, I immediately regretted it when I attacked into it, but I was still just panicking and just thinking like I have to do something.
Yeah, so we see that here. Like they're just holding position and like firing away. Like they just kill everything. Dragoons are broken. And so last example is immediately now when he moves the lurkers, they start glitching out. They're all dumb, and like watch like 5 of them die to like nothing.
Right.
And so you always want to wait for dragoons to move before you attack them, because when stationary, they're the best units in the game. Whenever they start to move, they're the worst units in the game. So think of them as like stupid siege tanks or like stupid lurkers, you know? That's how you should view them.
Yeah, and regardless, also just wasting units, sending them in small groups is not great.
Alright, so does Tim have another time to play another? Do you want to play him again?
Just 1 second.
Okay. I'll be right back.
All right, guys. We've had some questions in the chat. I will ask them after Hawk is done coaching Keen. I see we have some people commenting in the chat. I've been hanging out with you guys. I'm not sure who George is playing. He said he was going to pick somebody from VT, so I'm not sure who he found. Looks like Keen and Tim are going to be playing another game. TJ, the the masterclasses are all announced in the CPL server. So if you have the official streams channel muted, you're not going to get the pings for them. And I also usually announce the dates on all the official streams. Like if you listen to the announcements at the beginning, you'll find out when they are. The other thing you can do is check out the Google Calendar for CPL, which I keep updated. I just updated it yesterday, so everything that's coming up this next week should be on the Google Calendar. The link is pinned to the general channel in the CPL Discord. So if you just grab that link, and you can even just put it on your phone, and then you'll know when all the CPL events are. And I usually put a description of the event as well as who's involved in running it and a link to the Twitch channel, the appropriate Twitch channel. And Google Calendar is great because it adapts to your time zone. So.
All right, so we have game 2.
Tim's still in the, someone's still in the Discord call. If we don't know what the icon is.
Oh yeah, I mean it's fine.
Yeah, Keen's still here, but I think he's gonna live coach him, so he needs to be here.
Oh, sweet.
I'd actually prefer it. That way we can get like real time instead of like looking back on it. It's funny, it almost looks identical to the last one. It's perfect. So, just a recap of my opinions on this matchup. Hydras are really good when Protoss is on 2 bases. Once they get a third, they're the worst units in the game. And basically the only way to compete with a Protoss on 3 bases is just having a ton of drones and hatcheries and upgrades. And it's hard to do because Zerg macros is hard. Zerg economy management is easily the hardest in the game. But Zerg also has the tools to do it. So, you know, just whenever Protoss gets their third up, you need to start transitioning into just lots of stuff. And to get that stuff, you need drones and hatcheries. You just need to make them. With mutas, which upgrade order is best? What do you mean? I think... Oh, like air... Against Protoss, actually in most matchups you get air armor. It's just a better upgrade usually. Yeah, just in most situations. Because Muta's main concern is splash damage. So air armor is usually better in that case.
Yo, just one thing for Sat Zero, because I don't think he's reading the chat. For the live coaching, if you want to just like double right click on Keen so we can follow his FP view and then turn off vision of the.
Sure, yeah.
That's good, yeah.
We have some zealots coming, and so we should make a couple more lings. Now remember, you don't want to fight at the hatchery. You shouldn't care if he's hitting your hatchery. You know, it's whatever. So if you need to go into your main to buy yourself time, you can do that. Looks like he's not going to press the issue, though, so that's fine. The same thing. Your gas is a little early. I may even just cancel that if you still care, but I certainly wouldn't mind from it right now, because you're only on about 8 workers. Okay, so you see the zealots come in. This is a bit dangerous, because he's going to get into your main and disrupt mining. But again, just run them away. Just make sure not to lose them. If he attacks your drones, just run them to your natural. Don't fight him with it, because he has 3 zealots. Let's use your lings and fight. Again, as long as you don't lose anything, that's what's important. Alright. So let's put the Zerglings. Zerglings on 1 on each side. You're gonna need to kill this, unfortunately. It kind of sucks, but just the way it goes. Okay, so we lost a lot of Zerglings on that one, so let's build a couple more, but most of our larvae should be going to drones. That was a little bit better for him. Again, don't mind gas. Take those off of gas. You don't have the drone count. So like right now you have all of these extra larvae. You're gonna need minerals to spend that. You're gonna need, you know, an overlord, which is minerals. Gas is a trap right now, because you have so much banked larvae. And so here's your choice. You can either do 5 hatches, or you can just put down a Hydra den. Either one is okay.
Should I start mining gas now?
Yeah.
Should I still get link speed?
No. Not this late in the game. You got a drone heading over to his base. But yeah, just keep on pumping out drones.
Can I support this with 1 gas right now because my hydrogen?
Absolutely, you can.
Should I?
But you
add
can make
hatcheries?
extra hatcheries though, which is nice. But yeah, keep on pumping out drones. Looks like one of your rallies might be messed up. I don't know which one though. So just reset them all. So yeah, you can even go for a 5th hatchery at your 3rd. That sounds fine. One thing you want to be careful of is your overlords right now. They're kind of all out on the map. So if you're going Hydras, you want to make sure to send them back to protect them. And make sure you have Hydras rallied as well to protect them. So yeah, Hydra upgrades would be good. So in this case, you're not really going for a Hydra timing because you have your 4th and 5th hatcheries. So you just want to make sure your Hydras protect those overlords. And you want to have as few Hydras as you can to protect all your overlords, but enough so you don't lose them. The rest of your larvae should just be going into more drones. And at this point, you can start making your natural gas. Get it up into 2 gas, so you can start getting into layer, and you can start getting into your Evo chamber. But there's really no rush into that. You know, Hydrous will protect you for a very long time. Okay, so you see the Zealots? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to put your Zerglings up at your 3rd base and have a few Hydras there. And I want you to make a evolution chamber to block your natural. So you're going to be blocking the ramp. Evo chamber is a little bit far out, but that's still fine. You have a wall. Ooh, one of your rallies definitely messed up. Try to reset those when you can. Yeah, so there's a lot of space in this wall. Yeah, pulling that drone is fine. It's good. Looks like you have enough to protect those overlords. Let's go ahead and fight that Corsair. You can protect it if you want. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, let's go into layer. This is all still fine. You have your 6 hatcheries coming up. You have lots of Hydras. Yeah, your economy is really good. Good. So let's also keep out now that a speed lot attack is over, you want to make sure what he's doing. So you want to have a Zergling at each of his possible expands. And again, you know, you have this very nice wall set up at your natural and then covering your ramp, so you're free to drone and take your 3rd gas. Perfect. And awesome, 2 more Evos. That's really good. But to support though, again, you need about, let's try and get up to 50 drones if you can. So you want about 14 drones on your main mineral lines, 12 drones on your natural mineral line, and 12 drones at your 3rd mineral line, ideally. Okay, and immediately you should be lurker aspect is going up. because Lurker Aspect is what's going to allow you to take your 4th base, and what's going to allow you to kind of protect yourself. Good. Okay, so 11 drones at your natural, 11 drones at your 3rd, and about 14 on your main. That looks perfect. So now you are fully saturated, which is perfect. So again, if you're not already, Overlord speed, Lurker aspects, probably +2 attack soon, I think. And again, right when you start your Lurkers, you're going to want to take your 4th.
Okay.
Ooh, Overlord's about to die, so let's make sure we have enough supply cap to make Lurkers immediately when that finishes. Okay, we're giving up kind of our walled position, so we want to be a little bit careful in that. Right now, our wall is kind of our safety. Okay, that was really good. That was really good for you. Wow, that was a really good micro. Got a bit caught off though, the army. Might be GG, but we died doing what we love, which is droning.
Yeah, I did. That's why I wanted to move outside of the wall.
So where was Lurkers? Shouldn't they have been done?
They finished right when he attacked, essentially.
Yeah. So you don't want to move outside your wall.
But yeah, I mean, I was just worried about being in that situation where he would just have a limited amount of space to store all of my Hydra.
That's fine. Just don't move outside your wall.
Okay.
So and then as well, you can make Lurker eggs as well to block it off. The main point is don't give up the wall if you don't have to, because he caught your Hydras out.
Right. Yeah.
The other thing is just Lair and Lurkers were just a little bit late. I know that game didn't feel as good, but you just gotta trust me. That's the only way you're gonna keep up with Protoss is if you have that kind of economy early on.
Right.
And it kind of sucks because you're gonna like lose a lot of games just getting like bulldozed like that because you have fewer units than you're used to. But that's the only option to compete with Protoss once they have a 3rd base. You just have to find out or to practice your defense with that many units.
Fair enough. Okay.
So, like, watching that, it didn't seem like there was a lot of scouting from the Zerg side of things. Is there something more active to be doing to see, like, when the attacks come in? Or just kind of, like, get better at the defense in general, and it won't be a problem?
Yeah, so the Zerglings, that's generally what they're used for afterwards. You know, after you have enough Hydras that they're not really worth anything in fighting. Is you just kind of send them around the map. But Tim was also quite good at clearing a lot of his scouts. So it's a bit iffy as well. But yeah, a little bit of just Zergling scouts would have been nice.
I mean, I did try to spread the Zerglings around. But yeah, I guess I wasn't diligent enough about keeping them alive.
Yeah, to be fair, Tim's really good. He's a good player. Like he hit his macro pretty much without any mistakes in that game. Dang, I wish that game didn't end like that. That's such a difficult way for it to end. Do we have time for one more, or do we have to go on?
You You have about 6 minutes. So you can hop into the replay, or we can just move on right now, or I can see like how late George can go.
Okay.
I mean, if we can go again later after George is finished.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll do the quick replay, and then we can go again after.
Okay.
Okay.
So I hosted the replay.
But thank you for everything so far.
Yeah.
I do think the very opening of this game was definitely way rougher than I have had for a while. Just against the Zealot.
Well, you had a much better economy because, again, you delayed that gas. That's what's important.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense too, especially against this, because his tech is going to be delayed as well, so Corsairs aren't going to be as much of an issue early game.
Yep. I mean, you notice you had the 6 hatcheries super fast, you had the drones super fast. You did need the lurkers a bit faster to protect yourself, but, you know, in terms of your hatchery count and drone count was really good. I think even with the Hydras, if they were just behind the wall, I think they could have maybe defended. Because he didn't have many Dragoons, which are usually the issue if you're behind a wall.
So what do I do, though, when he is at my wall, and I have all these Hydras come there, and he storms them in like a perfect second? I just have to micro them back and wait?
Yeah, that's basically it.
Okay. Because I'm always afraid to keep them behind, like I said, just because of that. Like, the confined space gives me, like, claustrophobia. I just picture all of my Hydras dying to one storm. It gives me nightmares.
Yeah, it's tough. One thing you did have is that you had lurkers on the way, theoretically, if you were to just sit behind your wall. So you could have just morphed lurkers at your third and brought them over.
I saw that it just finished when his army was there, so I was worried about morphing them. I thought I needed the Hydras, but
you have to morph them.
Yeah, making a wall with them sounds like it would have been the best plan of action for sure.
Yeah, because at worst, he storms your eggs, and that was the case. Okay, fewer storms.
Yeah, and then just stop.
Oh yeah, he got actually a sizable advantage from this. This is so annoying because it's 10 drones to 21 probes.
Oh yeah, this hurt a lot.
Yeah, just one of those things. Like, really careful with moving out your Zerglings against one gate. God, this sucks to deal with.
Yeah, I was kind of already like mentally resigned at this point.
I literally just give up on putting my Zerglings at their gateway a lot of times. I'll just leave them with my natural and say, like, I don't care anymore.
Well, that would have helped doubly so, because then I would have just sniped the probe scout. Or actually, was there a probe scout? No, I guess he didn't. It was a non-issue at this point. But yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. So yeah, we delayed the gas because we took early damage, which is good. Got it up now. So now our economy is back on track. He's still ahead, no doubt. But it's not unplayable, that's for sure. And something was really off with the rallies this game. It caused a lot of headaches.
Yeah, I don't know why it was such a problem for me. I swear I re-rallied all of my main hatcheries like 4 times.
Yeah, just be really careful, because rallies are the #1 APM wasters or APM savers. So it can cause you so many headaches if you don't get them reset. So just sometimes just slow down. You know, we're all playing so fast, but sometimes you just need to slow the game and just make sure the rallies are right and all that. So like right here is when I would layer.
So just to reiterate though, I think the reason I had set those forward rallies in the first place was because I was still in that mode of thinking that I need to force a bit of reaction with the Hydra. Then, like you said, it was already so delayed that I just needed late defense.
Yeah, I wanted you to go for another timing, but honestly, I saw how Tim was this game, and he took so much damage early that I was just like, it's not even possible to go for a Hydra timing, even if you wanted to. So we see like the layer is a little bit a little bit late. And this Overlord didn't need to die. Like, you had enough Hydras to fight that. So, like,
Hmm.
kind of 2 Overlord loss. A little bit of a delayed layer. But this is like the ideal setup you want to have, where you have Zerglings and a few Hydra on the ramp to defend, and then at your natural, like the Evo hatch block. But you actually want the Evo like 2 hexes down. That provides actually a bigger block.
Do you think my hatchery there was a little bit misplaced? Maybe that should have been a close.
Yeah, it needs to be a little bit down, but that's actually fine to put it there too. It's not a huge deal. It's more the Evo, because that's what's giving extra room.
Okay.
So if you had a tighter block, earlier drones would have been possible, but so yeah, we see the lurker upgrade. All this
My
is
first
fine.
upgrade was a bit late as well, but I don't think it really made much of a difference.
So I want to see, because I know the layer was late, but I feel like if we had done lurkers like immediately, no, oh, I guess it doesn't finish. Either way, so like right here, oh yeah, one thing also, you need to get in the habit of clearing overlords outside of your natural,
Oh yeah,
because when you're fighting, they're just a headache. They're annoying things. So just move them off all onto a corner or something.
that's a constant issue for me.
Yeah, it's just a single click, but it saves you from headaches. Yeah. Okay, so you clear them there. So like right here. So that many Hydras under a wall. If you actually look, he only has 3 and a 4th Dragoon coming. Dragoons are the problem when you go behind a wall, not Zealots.
Mhm.
So in order to get his Templars into range to storm your Hydras, he needs to have Zealots up front. And if he has Zealots up front, you're shooting them. And you can always split your Hydras. It's not a big deal. And you can also just drill the Zealots. Again, not big deals. But here out in the open, Zealot Templar just eat up Hydras without Lurker support. They just eat them up.
So just don't be afraid. Just fight behind the wall. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you made a wall. You should use it.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So this, I thought you actually had a really good chance here.
But
But this is another thing which happens when you start moving Hydras a little bit too much, is they lose their pre-spread. So you had them pre-spread, and then when you start moving them back and forth, they kind of a lot of times clump up where their destination is.
Mhm.
So those Hydras, because they were moved, kind of clumped like this. And this is just one in the game.
Yeah, I find I have these games against him a lot where it looks like I'm sort of like even after getting behind to certain points, like I have these game-ending attacks where it looks like I could have held on, but he just totally destroys me with storms.
Oh, one other thing. So this is also just why you want to clear overlords. So part of why it was difficult to move your stuff at your 3rd was because of these overlords. Like, it looks like you cleared most of your Hydras at your 3rd, even now, after you send the rest.
Right.
But there are so many more below these overlords. So like if you look now, there's still even 7 Hydras there. So just keep in the habit of clearing out the overlords from your fighting spots.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate everything. And yeah, I'll definitely next game I'll work on the overlord specifically, because that is a constant issue for me. I always think about it, but I never end up doing it. I appreciate everything, and I hope we can have another game after.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, do you double click or control click?
I do both, honestly, but
that was one issue I used to have, where I wouldn't like to do things like that because I would need to like double click the same overlord and shit. Just control clicking helps a lot. It's so fast. It's just control click, right click, control click, right click. You know?
Mhm. Okay. I'll just use control.
Yeah, that'll help a lot. Because I used to have that issue where I wouldn't like to do it just because
Yeah,
it's like a habit of double
I
clicking.
never used to do it, but I have been trying to do it more. But I still revert back sometimes. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought the games were good. Second game, it feels worse. You just need to trust me. You gotta stick
Yeah,
with it.
I know. I do trust it. I do trust it.
Zerg standard play feels like crap until you start getting it, because you know you can play the safe game and under drone and survive the early timings only to lose later on, and that feels better because you survived for longer.
But it's
But
not
it's just
conducive
something.
to improvement.
Yeah, it's just something you gotta kick, because surviving for longer in the game does not mean that you're playing better. It just means that you lost the game earlier on in order to hold out. It doesn't
Right.
increase your chances of winning.
Hey Hawk, I think that George is ready to go.
Yep. Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Just while we're kind of setting this up, we did have a couple questions in chat over that. The first one was asking about the third evolution chamber timing, assuming everything's going smoothly.
Yeah. It depends if you have a third gas. So if you have a third gas, usually I make the third Evo at the same time as you get your like +2 ranged attack. So that way you have like 1-1-2 coming out at the same time. There's no good timing for it because it all depends. Evos are very expensive. They cost a drone and upgrades take forever. But basically, if you feel safe, like if you have lurkers to defend yourself, they're your win condition. Because in order to beat Protoss in a late game, you need to have your upgrades going strong. So again, don't build them if you're going to die by building them. Like if you don't feel safe and you have your lurkers out and everything, don't get them. But again, if you want to win the game, you need to have 3 Evos.
All right. The second one was, if I'm defending with a lot of lurkers, how do I attack with just so many lurkers? Should I be waiting for Hive for Defiler and Crackling before I attack? I think this is in like mid game.
Yeah, Defiler is not that important. Defilers tend to be quite difficult to use, and they cost a lot of gas, and a lot of times you just be better served just making more lurkers. You don't need to attack with lurkers. Once you have enough, you can simply just encroach across the map and hold more territory for more bases. That is the ideal way to use lurkers, and on the flip side of that, lurkers only cost gas, so you're going to have a ton of minerals with which to use Zerglings in order to pressure the Protoss. Pressure their army by killing Templar, pressure their bases, because guess what? 24 Cracklings can demolish even 6 cannons very easily. And that's the ideal, is you have lurkers, a ton of lurkers for defense, and you just encroach and keep on taking bases and moving up. And you have your Zerglings as like a little force to keep Protoss in check, to make sure they're building defenses properly on their bases.
Right. We also had one more question that was, when should you start to be wary of drops? Like if you haven't actually seen the robo, but around sometime it's more common to show up. So I'm assuming this is like, basically if you don't scout with your first Overlord or with your Scourge Scout, that they have a really early robo. When do you need to be prepared for like storm drops and DT drops?
I don't have an exact timing, but certainly Well, in most of my games, I just put 4 to 6 Hydras in my main, and just sit them there, for most of the game. That tends to work for me. It's a fine investment to make, because it's just 4 to 6 Hydras. You're not going to lose the game because of that, and you can always bring them in to help during timing pushes. That is usually the easiest. You can say Scourge and all of that, but Scourge, you need to pay attention, and that's difficult. Hydras are a lot more flexible in that even if you have a lapse of attention and you don't see it, well, Hydras still deal with whatever they drop out, so it's fine. Certainly by the time Protoss gets to 3rd, though, I just sit 4 to 6 Hydras in my main. Just leave them.
Okay, guys, did I miss any questions? Repost them if I didn't ask your question, because that's all that I had copied.
What's the password? Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3. Whoops. Okay. The only other point I would say with that one is usually when someone goes drop, they still have Corsairs. So if they're going for like mass Corsairs, or just made like 1 and you went Hydra without Spire, if they have air control, forcing you to bunch up your overlords in one position, be more aware about drops. It's more of a possibility than if, let's say, he didn't go Corsair at all.
Right, and I think we had one more question that was like, when can Zerg start thinking about doing drops themselves? Like, is that after Hive, or what's the deal with that?
Yeah, do it after Hive. Kind of. So there are some styles in which you can drop lurkers, and they're quite strong, legitimately, because lurker drops, even with like 2 cannons from Protoss, will still get off their spines before they die. That being said, it's really easy to mess up, and Protosses make Corsairs nowadays anyway. Yeah, just do drop after Hive. You can try and play the layer drop style. It's difficult because drop costs 200 gas, and then you're dropping 2 lurkers at a time, and it's just like you saw in a lot of those games. I mean, 4 lurkers a lot of times is make or break for defending.
So, since we're still in the early game, every game we've seen today so far has been a gateway opening. Is any of your advice to us changed if they open Forge?
Nope. Not really. You just have more options open if they open Forge. One build I want to point out, though, I've said this a bit earlier, but Overpool sucks as a build. Nobody likes to Overpool. People just Overpool because it works against anything. If they only do Gate first, I honestly wouldn't Overpool if they're not doing Forge at all. There are so many better builds out there. One of them in particular, which is straight up hard counters Gate first, is 12 pool gas. So if you see that they do nothing but this, 12 pool gas. You have speed out super early, you get your expand out still. It is so strong versus Gate first. The caveat is that kind of sucks versus Forge Expand because the speed does nothing, and you know it's just worse economy, and they get to go like Pylon Nexus Forge, but it's a trade-off, you know. So I like this counter. He should try and kill the Zealot in the probe and then go for the Pylon. Yeah, it goes for the Pylon to force him to attack. This is really good. Oh, this is perfect. So like Zerg doesn't even bother defending the natural, and that's actually what you're supposed to do. He only needs to attack when he goes into his mineral line. I'd like to see some drones fighting with this, but it looks like he's fine. So it looks like we have about an even game. I say that, but Zerg decided to mine guys, seriously, like every game. This is why. I mean, there's 5 drones on minerals and you're mining gas. It just, I cannot stress enough how much this just destroys your economy for the entire game when you do that. Oh, I guess he just got it for speed. Okay. Alright, you took off of gas for speed. That's fine.
You still don't like that decision, though.
It's fine. I won't knock it too much because it's just for speed, so it's temporary. You know, it's fine. But still, I was really worried he was going to keep on mining. Because theoretically, if you get earlier speed, you don't need to build as many Zerglings. So it's not. It's just a different way to play. Still, you see a lot of idle larvae though, which is a problem. It's like all of those need to either be Zerglings or drones right now. So this is just another thing. Just, again, the Zergling advantage is speed. Not the speed upgrade, but literally that their speed stat is higher. And so you're not using that speed stat whenever you attack. So he saw that the Zealots had a bigger army. Just run away, you know? Drones are faster than Zealots. Zerglings are faster than Zealots. You have no reason to attack until you have a bigger army. And what happens is when you attack too early, you get in these situations where instead of like waiting for an army and just running away until then, Zealots get to eat up smaller portions of your army consistently. If your Overlord scouts and going Forge Nexus, do you stop mining gas if you're about 60 gas in? With like 12 pool gas, yeah, you just stop mining gas. You go up to 100 and just stop. But 12 pool gas kind of sucks against Forge Expand no matter what. Yeah, so he's making a lot of minerals, but he's making hatcheries to kind of spend it, which is nice. This is a pretty standard 5-hatch Hydra play. He just needs to make sure to get up his Hydras to make sure he only loses 1 Overlord. He should be fine. Yeah, his minerals are going a bit high. That's fine. He should either build a 6th hatchery or, you know, create colonies to use up that mineral. And I would even make a natural gas here. Or transfer more drones to the 3rd. That may actually be better. So right now he should be making nothing but Hydras to make sure he has enough for the upcoming attack. Yeah, he might not have enough here. So normally how it goes on the saturation runs is you have 1 drone per patch and then 2 gas, and you make nothing but Hydras until the speed lot attack is over. The wall, oof, might get caught. Oh, he needs to drill the drones. Let's see it. That's a good drill. That's a good drill. He's gonna defend, I think. No? Maybe not. Sure. Well, he has Hydras coming in for reinforcement, but oof, this might be too much damage. So I would have liked to see, with his extra minerals, just 2 Sunkens. If he was supply blocked, let's say, you can always make a Sunken. I think he should actually end up defending this, but this hurt a lot. Oh no, he moved away the drones. Yeah, it looks like there's 1 Zealot in the main as well. Yeah, this is gonna be too much damage. Yeah, 11 kill Zealot in the main. I would just probably tap out here. This is just the unfortunate part about this matchup. You know, legitimately, Protoss has a much easier time with their macro and just timing things. That's just the reality of it. And so you're gonna see this a lot until you really start to get like the timings and the economy of Zerg. The one asterisk to that is that if you play like 2-hatch all-in Zerg versus Protoss, Zerg actually has the upper hand. It's a lot easier for Zerg. If you start going for things like 2-hatch Hydra Bust, 2-hatch Lurker Drop, 2-hatch Fast Muta. So, you know, if you're ever too frustrated with this matchup, because I agree, it is extremely difficult to macro on even footing with Protoss on the same skill level. If you're ever too frustrated, you know, always remember there are other options which make it a little bit easier for Zerg. Hey.
Hey guys.
So, how do you think that game went?
I think I had a good start. I contained the Zealots, made him scared. I think the problem started when he sent the 4 Zealots after he got the cannon up. And I didn't have enough lings to defend that, and I think that just ruined my timings.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he just, it's something you see a lot, and in order to fight Zealots, you need to make use of running away a lot more often with the Zerglings. So when you had the 4 Zealots, you had about like 10 or 12 Zerglings. I think actually like 8, something like that. And in that case, just don't fight. Like just you know, rally them all the way back and wait till you have an overwhelming advantage of Zerglings.
And if they start attacking drones, I just pull the drones away?
Exactly. Like if they go to your natural, okay, move the drones to your main. Do not fight. Slow Zealots. Every single one of your units can run away from them. And then what is he left with? Either he goes all the way into your main and you have Zerglings by that point, or he's hitting away at your natural hatchery. You know, who cares? You
don't think I was too greedy there?
No. making drones is the right choice, especially because you had speed. It's just the problem, and you don't need to pre-make Zerglings, but
Good.
if he does attack you, you need to run away for as long as possible to give you that time. That's your advantage as Zerg, is that all of your units have higher speed stats. So you need to make use of that by buying yourself time.
Good. That's really good, man.
I don't think we would learn very much from the replay because you know we both kind of see what happened. It was just speed lot timing. One thing I would like to say is that if you think you're a little bit low on Hydras, and you might be going for that speed lot attack, you can always make a sunken, especially if he kills your Overlord and your supply blocked. You can always play it safe and just make a sunken at your natural and your third. That's the only thing. Other than that, it's just a standard like just not enough Hydras kind of thing.
Cool.
Is there
We're doing one more, or
Yeah. Let's just play. Let's get you to go into another game.
okay? I'll play it. Tell him to go.
Is there
Yeah,
anything
stay in-
you could,
Stay in
scout for?
chat, George.
I was gonna say, is there anything the Zerg could be scouting for to see if there is that kind of speed lot +1 timing on the
Nope.
way to maybe prepare for this defense, or not really?
Unfortunately, no. It's one of those things that it's very difficult to scout, and you just have to assume it's going to happen. And if it doesn't, and if he's going to Templar, okay, now you have enough Hydra to go take your 4th base. So, you know, it's not a big deal if they're not going for it. You still need Hydras regardless.
All right, just to be clear, am I going again against my opponent, or?
I think so, if he's here.
Okay, same password.
Okay.
Did he just leave? I told him to stay.
Oh, that's
Can you tell him to come back? Can you guys tell him to come back in the game?
Hey, sorry.
There we go. I told you to stay, but you didn't stay.
I didn't understand. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm gonna mute myself. Like, my keyboard's really loud.
That's fine. I just want to give some thoughts about Zerg as a race. So, part of what makes, when starting out, Zerg such a difficult race to play is that they are very unique in that they can either have the most number of workers in the game or most number of army. At any given time, they can have either. But their combined number of units will always be lower than Terran or Protoss. So their production overall is the worst in the game. But they have the most flexibility with their production, which means that at any given time, they can make a crap load of units off of like 9 drones or 12 drones and have the most number of army. Or at any given time, they can make nothing but drones and have the most number of drones. But regardless, their total number of units will always be lower than Terran or Protoss. And that's what makes them interesting and so, let's say, starting off difficult to play. Is just dealing with that. Because straight up, if you play standard, you're just down in units. But on the other hand, Zerg units are also super strong, so that's their compensation. And also their rushes are super strong, and they can be the most greedy. So we have Overpool. Zerg, which is nice, and we see out the Forge expand. Okay. So that gas is fine. You want to be a bit careful though with that, because that gas timing is going to be very tight. So if you're going to go for that, you cannot make any macro mistakes. So yeah, let's make your third hatchery. And you'll start to see that early on. So like even now, just the fact that those two drones kind of went off on their own, and just a couple other things, that being late, we'll see we have a little bit 2 extra larvae idle. So that's why you want to be careful with gases that early, is they don't leave room for mistakes. So let's build an Overlord. So preferably, I tell people, even if you're going Spire build, just build a gas at 3 minutes. Because even just now, you see just like 6-3, larvae, it's getting difficult to use them. Okay. Nice, so we killed the probe.
George can still hear you if you want to direct him what to do as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you know that or not.
I think his play is pretty good. Yeah, another Overlord. And there's not much to say. It's all pretty standard. He's not really pressuring or anything, so. One thing you want to scout is whether he's getting +1 weapons. That's one key thing, because if he's not getting +1 weapons, you're going to want to be more careful, because that means he's either going for a very fast DT or he's going for very fast Zealot speed without +1. Either way, it's usually a more aggressive opening if he's not upgrading on the Forge. That's normally just the only thing I scout for from the Protoss. So he's going to be a little bit more aggressive. So with that in mind, still make your 4th and 5th hatcheries. Going to need to continue droning your 3rd. Need to get up to 35 drones before that Spire finishes. So right now we only have 3 drones on your 3rd. Alright, so yep, drone up the 3rd. And at this point, since he's going to be more aggressive because he's not getting +1 weapons, I would start a couple of creep colonies, because he's either doing fast DTs or fast speed lots. So it'd be very nice to have some extra defense. So I'd go for creep colonies and get out the Evo and the Hydra Den to wall. Okay, don't let the Corsairs distract you too much. Okay, so now you see the Zealots. Oh, good. So he went Mutos. That's actually perfect against both of those. So he killed the early Corsair. So now that should be able to stop the speed lots. Don't let him disrupt your economy. You have the one Sunken to help protect you as well. Okay, so he goes inside your main. Yeah, that's fine. Let him do that. Just again, run away with all your drones. Don't let him kill drones. Let him hit buildings. Just say bye-bye. All the drones, just say bye. Fine, if he wants to kill your Spire for 7 Zealots, let him do it. It's not a big deal. Okay, behind this, let's make another Sunken at our natural and our third base. Because we know he's focusing on ground. And we also just want to drone up. So we cleared out the Zealots. Yep. We don't want to take our 4th just now because we don't have an army to protect it. So we can cancel that and instead just make another hatchery at our 3rd base. So what we really want is, if we put a second Sunken at our natural, we really want to use these Sunkens to allow us to get up to that 40 drones. That's our goal. Is to really power on 3 base while getting our Hydra upgrades and our Evo upgrades and taking our 3rd gas. So, you know, in your natural hatcheries, you have a lot of larvae. Use those in either Hydras or drones. Your choice. Either is fine. Perfect. Good. Okay, so we have lurkers on the way. So that's a good choice. It's fine to go either Hydras or lurkers, but lurkers are nice. Let's just make sure there are some lurkers at your natural and your 3rd. Alright. That was a good split. So we need a couple Hydras to deal with those Corsairs. Also, at this point, yeah, those Hydras probably will do fine. Okay. So yeah, you're feeling pretty good. You know, you have your lurkers, you have your Sunkens. At this point, just maybe 3 more drones in your natural, and then a 3rd Evo. Start making sure you have your Hydra upgrades like range and speed. I think you're still getting range, if I'm seeing that right. Perfect. Alright, he's giving up his Corsairs, which is good for you. Just make sure to be making more Overlords to compensate for the ones he's killing. Good. You have Zerglings at all 3 bases that he could take. And now you're at really good saturation. Looks like you have only 2 drones on gas at your 3rd, so just put another one in there. And now's the time where you just want to mass up. You know, he's on 2 bases and you're on 3 fully saturated, so you're going to outproduce him. You know, keep things simple. So now's the time where you just start pumping units like crazy. You know, you have your, I think, even 7 hatcheries. It's awesome. This is also the point in the game where if you see your 3rd, this is where you can start control clicking larva to macro. So, yep. So that's the easy way to macro with Zerg. That's really helpful. Perfect. So you have your 3 Evo chambers, and now you're slowly going into Hive. That's perfect. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, get those overlords out of the way so they aren't annoying your army. Alright. So now you feel pretty comfortable. You've been macroing at full production for a long time. You know, try and move out this army outside your natural. Get it out of there. You can attack into it if you want, but he has his army out there. Let's try and clear it. Yeah, it's perfect. Alright, so it's cleared, so now we can take our 4th base. You don't wanna fight him at his turf, but you certainly want to clear him of your turf. So let's run back a little bit. And again, at this point, because we see Protoss is taking their 3rd, we want to transition into just mainly lurker lane. So all the gas should be going into lurkers, and all the minerals should be going into Zerglings. This is getting caught out. Let's just be a little bit more careful. Let's go back to our base, right? Let's set up with our lurkers and just stay behind them. So we don't want to have a ton of Hydras just out in front of our lurkers. Our lurkers are how we protect ourselves. Okay, so let's move our lurkers from our 3rd. Okay, they're going the wrong way. Make sure they're not. Let's try and take the high ground with them, but oof. Yeah. I think this might be it. GG. So Hydra suck.
Oh yeah, those storms hurt so bad.
Like we were doing so well. It's just first of all, too many Hydras, not enough lurkers and lings. You know, I wish I could just shoot whoever made the idea of like massing Hydras. Just you gotta knock into your head. Hydras suck unless Protoss is on 2 base. They're only good for defending the first attack. Other than that, try really hard not to build them, unless it's for the just to defend against the Corsairs.
Yeah, that's good. I think I overbuild Hydras because I like to do like an all-in where I use mutas to kill a High Templar, but he had anti-air, so there was no possibility of that happening.
Right. So you're right. If they're on 2 bases and you want to keep them from getting a 3rd, feel free to mass Hydras and go for that style. Once you see that they take a 3rd, and you see that it won't work, immediately there needs to be a switch in your head that says, stop all Hydras, morph them all into lurkers if you can, and just save the ones you do have. You can't be caught out on the map like that. You know, you need to start setting up your lurkers and have your Hydras behind them.
Why did you tell me to cancel my 4th? I felt that I had lurkers and I'd be safe. Was I just completely wrong there?
Yeah, you didn't have lurkers yet.
I went lurker first and then Hydra speed and then range. I would only have had like 2 or 3 lurkers.
It's just greedy. You don't need to, because you know you didn't have a 6th hatchery anyway, and your third and your main and your natural weren't saturated all the way. So it's just one of those things that's like high risk, low reward. So the low reward is that like technically you get those patches earlier, but you already had patches which were not being used. Like your existing patches weren't saturated already. Same with like the third gas. So you don't get that much out of it, even if you do get it.
And it's more important to have the 6 hatch for production instead of a 4th base for the risk.
Right. And losing that 4th base early sucks because you're going to try and defend it usually.
Lose a lot
So
of
not
units.
only do you lose the hatchery, you'll lose whatever units you try and defend it with usually. And you just didn't have the units anyway at the time to defend it, I thought.
My friend is asking me if he can go or not. Are we going to play one more or no?
Yeah. Let's just play one more. We're getting close. We're getting close to a standard. Sorry. Again, I do want to point out, Zerg hasn't won so far, but that's because we're doing the honorable way of Zerg playing standard. If you want to win in this matchup, never ever make a 3rd hatchery. You will have the easiest wins of your life. That's my recommendation.
You're saying I should stoop down to the Pertussis cheese levels.
All I'm saying is, if you want to have the easy life against Protoss, go 2-hatch. 2-hatch Lurker Drop, 2-hatch Hydra Bust, 2-hatch Fast Muta. It feels so nice, and it is so easy for Zerg. You will start crushing Protosses. But if you want to be honorable, and also lose a lot of games, try this style. It is very difficult, but once you learn it, it feels nice. So for reference, 2-hatch is so good, we had a player called Yellow, one of the earliest Zerg players, and from the release of the game in 1998 all the way until about 2006 or 7, this guy was one of the top Zerg players, and even one of the top Zerg players against Protoss, by doing absolutely nothing but 2-hatch tech all-ins versus Protoss. And Protoss could not deal with it for about 8 years. That's how ridiculously strong and hard to deal with 2-hatch tech is against Protoss. And so this whole like Zerg macro play against Protoss is more of a new invention because those against the top level players don't work anymore. But I'm telling you, they are strong and they are easy to play. Yeah, dumb savior. Showing us that Zerg could also play macro against Protoss. Alright, so we see Gateway. So the main thing against Gateway is just keep on building lings and just make sure you have 9 drones on minerals at any given time. But as long as you're doing that and he doesn't disrupt that, you'll be fine. So your choice if you want to take the mineral only or the gas one. It's fine to do either. Alright, again, let's use their speed advantage and just run away, unless you have 6. If you have 6, you can go in. Alright, he's got another Zealot coming, so once that shows up, you're going to need about 10 in order to fight that. Again, Zerglings have the luxury of only ever fighting when they have overwhelming advantage. So let's use that, you know? Don't feel comfortable fighting with 8, just wait for 10. Perfect, 12, cool. That looks strong. Alright, he's the 3rd Zealot though. Do you feel comfortable? If not, you can run away. It's fine too. But no, you're good. You went in. That's fine. Yeah, see? Look at that. Just killed him. Perfect. So now we go back to drones, right? Alright, we got just enough gas for speed. That's probably fine. It's a bit iffy because we have just 8 drones right now, but you'll be fine. You killed all of his zealots, so that's actually quite good. Be a bit careful with Zerglings that is natural, because you do need to spend a lot of attention on them, because he can bait them into cannons. So just remember that these are APM hogs. So if you want to spend attention elsewhere, just send them back. You know, they don't really need to be there. Yeah, so that's what I mean, is like he just punished you there for having your Zerglings that is natural. Again, only fight when you have an overwhelming advantage, but it seems like you have enough Zerglings. So, if they were all together, to just wait for them to all be grouped. Don't think countering is a good idea, but you can, if you want to. Try and snipe the cannon. Yeah, just go in and kill the cannon. Yeah, there you go. This is always really annoying for Protoss to deal with, because they have to remake the cannon, and cannons are expensive and everything. Okay, let's start mining gas to get up our Hydra Den. He's gonna have, well, actually, no, you have an Overlord inside his base. You see that he's not going Stargate. Never mind. You can still get a Hydra Den, though, just in case. You want to get faster Hydra upgrades, that's fine. Okay, looks like we're supply blocked. Keep on making drones. Okay. And you see that he's getting +1 on the forge. So that means that he's going probably for +1 speed lot. Let's move out the Overlords, just in case he's making a Dragoon. You know, even if he's not making Corsair, he could still make a Dragoon to kill your Overlords. Let's just move them away. Let's cancel that hatchery at your 3rd and make it so that it blocks off. So like make it to the right of your 3rd hatchery. Perfect. And same thing, let's when you have the money for it, make a 5th hatch to block off near the Hydra Den. The other thing is that you're over transferring to your natural. You do want to have some more drones in your main. And then last thing, to finish off the wall at your 3rd, let's get an Evo up to the left side. Perfect. That seems like a good wall that we have. So one thing that could have been better on... Oh, never mind. I'll stop talking. So let's get up some Hydrous. Did not see that coming. It's really fast. We may just die. Yeah, let's get up Creep Colony. We'll need to send our Lings back. Yeah. So let's keep on building Hydras. I think this might be over though. Did you? Alright. Don't get Ling Speed that fast. Let me show you something. It's just be careful with your gas. Because there was quite a long time where it was just 5 drones on minerals. I hosted the replay, Hawk 2/2.
Okay, so my thought there was, I understand that there is a decision around 18 supply where you can go all in on links or you can macro. So my understanding was that you want to get speed as fast as you can so you're able to make that decision.
It's not whether you're able to. If you're going to need to all in.
That again, it cut out.
If you're going to get speed that quickly, you're going to need to all in.
Oh, really?
Like it's forced. It's not a question.
So how many drones do I need before I get? I guess I would need 12 drones.
At least 12 drones. Oh shoot, you aren't in the okay. Here, join up the replay.
What's the password?
2. Hold on, let me host it again. So Hawk 2/2. Okay. Because I'll show you. If you do gas that early, and I think you actually could have killed him because he did push out with the zealots. But yeah, if that's how you want to play, that's fine. It just is a timing attack.
Oh,
And
wait, yeah.
You're going to need to actually do the timing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think I also overmade Ling's.
Yeah, if you're going to get speed that early, you don't need to make that many lings. Because the whole point is that if you get speed, you can literally just have like 4 lings against his 5 zealots. And by the time his 5 slow zealots walk to your base, you just have like 16 speedlings. So the whole point about it is that if you get speed, you don't need to do it. So yeah, you do a good trade, but yeah, let's watch here. See? So like this early in the game, let's look at your main. I mean, this is just, it's too much. You know, you have 3 idle larvae, 4, and you have 5 drones on minerals compared to his 16. It's just, it crushes your economy, like beyond belief. Not only was 1 drone taken on the extractor, but 3 on. It's too much. Like if you're gonna go for this, you have to make all of these zerglings and just run them over.
Okay, that's super helpful. I'm curious, when should the timing be if I don't want to go all in? Or if I'm not sure yet, at least.
After you have enough minerals to use up all of your excess larvae.
So 3 hatcheries, that's 9, right? That's 9 drones?
Yeah, preferably you always want to have 9 drones in the main. But the real thing you want to consider is as long as you have enough minerals to consistently use up all of your larvae on drones, then yeah, if you have excess minerals beyond that, take your gas.
Okay, that's really insightful.
Yeah. All right. Do you have time for one more?
My friend left, so if there's someone else who can play, then I do.
Okay. Let's see.
We might be able to get Tim back.
Okay. Yeah.
Says he needs 2 minutes.
Okay. But yeah, just on that one, I actually do like that build. If you are going for that all in,
It's hard though
it's
once
fine.
they wall off.
Yeah, sometimes you're just kind of betting that they push out with their speed zealots, slow lots, and then you can just run and kill the cannon. Though, if you're going for that, another good trick is like you saw how you had 3 zealots at your base. If you're going to go for that, just don't even attack those zealots. Just run past them and then go to his base, and keep on making lings at home. That's one way to do it.
Man. In terms of the first game, I think it was the second game where I opened with a layer into Muta. What's the best number of hatchery accounts? 3 base and 4 base.
3 base is 6 or 7. 4 base, preferably you actually want like 10, if you can do it.
Go up to 12, or is that only for 5 base?
Yeah, 12 is like 5 base. Well, even then, 11, 12 is fine. But yeah, you generally don't. You generally don't get any economy past your 4th base because you're not going to be making more than like 60, 65 drones maybe. Anyway, so
I mean, doesn't it make sense to have extra hatcheries for someone at my level because I'm not going to be macroing as good as others?
Absolutely. That's why I like 3 base. I'm okay with like 7 hatcheries. 4 base. I'm okay with like 10, 11. Yeah, absolutely. It does make sense. Same with like Protosses should be making like a ton of gateways.
What are some of the tells for how the Protoss opens? Like, when you were coaching me, I know you said like, "Oh, the forge is spinning," and like, I had not even thought to include that in my calculations.
So
how do you know if they're opening DT, if they're opening Macella? Like,
you
do you
don't.
need to play Protoss to learn that?
You don't. The only thing I check is whether the forge spins. All I look at is the natural. I don't send 2 overlords. I just send 1 overlord. If I see the forge spinning, cool, probably normal play. If I don't see the forge spinning, it's either really fast DT or really fast speed lots, and I usually make a sunken, 2 sunks. Yeah, that's the only thing I look for. That's the only thing I know about. Other than that, you know, if you go Spire, technically you can scout with like 1 Meta or a Scourge or something like that. You know.
That's the nice thing about Spire builds is like at my level, the Protoss do like all these crazy weird extra gates or something. So you can scout and you can prepare a lot better.
Yeah. It's just different thoughts to it. The Spire build, you're able to scout so that you can devote all of your resources into defending one thing. And the Hydra build is like you have so many resources that hopefully it won't matter what they do and you can defend against anything. That's usually the thought process between the two. I think it's closed or something. I'm not able to join it for some reason.
I'll remake it.
Master 2, not Master.
Oh, it's Master 2? Whoops, maybe.
I'm remaking it.
Okay.
Hey guys, for the record, this is for me and Sad Zero. This is we gotta go after this game, so of course you can keep working with Hawk, but we're gonna stream one more game and the review, and then we're gonna go ahead and close out the stream. And then of course everyone's free to do what they like. But
Thanks, Strom.
All right, we need 1 Zerg win. 1 today.
I don't think I'm gonna get it on Tim, man.
No pressure.
I told them all to pick opponents that they would probably lose to, so there'd be lots to talk about. So they're definitely all the games that were played today were like intentionally mismatches. So don't worry about it too much.
So a lot of people in the chat are talking about mouse sensitivity. I'll say that most pros play at 800 DPI, so they actually don't have that fast of a mouse. Like they have medium to low sensitivity. Not as low as like FPS players, but it's low enough. Alright, let's get that hatchery up. Nice. Okay, so you see the gateway, same deal, just whatever you do, make sure there are always 9 drones on minerals versus this. You can send one out to make the 3rd hatchery. Good. And now you see one zealot right now, and so it's really your choice as to whether you feel comfortable making drones or zerglings. Either one is a fine choice. There's no right answer to this. It just depends as to whether you think he's going to attack you or not. I like the counterattack, but he will have a zealot on the way, so if you're going to counterattack, you need to have zerglings at home. Just always remember, if you're going to counterattack, you need to be making zerglings. It looks like he has a zealot in your base. Let's make sure that doesn't do too much damage. Looks like it's going okay for you. I think it's pretty even. He lost a lot of mining time with this, so that's good. Let's just clear up that other zealot, and I think we're in a pretty even position. Actually, I think you're maybe slightly ahead after killing that zealot like that. Regardless, yep, good position. That's actually perfect gas timing, what you did just there, because you have enough money to use up all the larvae. Let's just overlord and drone. Just slam that D key and make sure you don't get supply blocked. Yep, so you see we have enough minerals to continually use up our larvae, so that's why you gassed. That's perfect. Okay, so same thing. You can put the zerglings out as natural, but just always remember it's going to be a tax on your APM. And so, you know, it's only worth it if you can pay attention to them. Alright, so same thing. Next things, keep on droning. Put down that Hydra den when you can. But just keep on slamming down that D key like crazy. In this position, you don't really need to get Zergling speed, because he lost so many zealots. So you can just make a Hydra den straight up. You don't need to waste time with the Zergling speed. A little bit lower. Cancel the Hydra den, put it 2 hexes lower. Yeah, perfect. Doesn't that seem like a much safer wall? I like that wall a lot more. Alright, here's... Yep, good. Awesome. So you move to the Zerglings in time. And so he's moving out with those zealots, which means you need to make some Zerglings. Okay, he's moving back. So never mind, you don't need to make any. Same thing, just make sure you don't get supply blocked, make sure your overlords are in check. Start moving your overlords away as well, like the one in his main, because he can make a Dragoon. Yep, so 5th hatchery would be good. More drones at your 3rd. Start making Hydras from your natural and main. And let's make a Evo at your 3rd. Yeah, that's probably fine. So at the 3rd, you're going to use your ramp as a block. So you don't really need to make a wall like this, but it's fine if you do. Yep, so you got your 2nd gas up, which is good. About this time, you have 1 drone per patch, and you have 2 gases. So now's the time where you just Hydra, 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 Hydra. Like nothing but Hydras to make sure you defend his Zealot attack. One other thing is, here's where also I would start my lair. So this is the point where just nothing but Hydras. I would also, these Zerglings are quite important because those Zerglings will help you protect your 3rd. So move them back to your 3rd instead of having them die. Be very careful with them. Just have them sit on the 3rd's ramp. You can leave like 1 to scout, but you do want to keep most of them alive. So let's have like the Zerglings blocking the ramp and then the Hydras at the ramp as well. That's going to be your protection at your 3rd. You're going to need to power out more Hydras at your 3rd as well, because it's just 3 Hydras right now. Let's make sure you pump up from your 3rd's the scary spot right now. And you can even put hold position at those guys at your natural and your 3rd. Also, try and move the overlords a little bit out of the way. They're just tough to see if they're on top of your army. Just maybe a pet peeve, but... Alright, so make sure all your armies are in position. Good, good. See, he just even backs away. He's not gonna mess with that. Apparently there's a gap. It's okay, you have enough Hydras, but that is actually really funny. There's a gap. I was like, oh shit. Alright, so that didn't work. So now you have enough Hydras. Let's power out drones. Everything should be drone right now. And add a 6th hatchery, and add your 3rd gas, and start lurker upgrade. And I mean it. I mean, you should be making like 15 to 20 drones right here. Like, just power them out like crazy. Like, yeah, 3rd gas, let's get out your 6th hatchery at your 3rd. Let's also drone up more on your main and natural. Those are quite low on drones. Just drone. Make sure they're fully saturated. If you feel comfortable with your APM, you can try and push them with your existing Hydra force, but if you don't feel comfortable with that multitasking, don't. You know, it's up to you. You want at least 5 more drones in your main, and about 3 to 4 more drones on your natural. Your 3rd looks good. You also want your 6th hatchery. Yep, nice. Nice. There's the 6th hatchery. Let's overlord speed if you're not getting it already. Yeah, 2nd Evo, that's nice.
Go Muta here.
Nope. Actually, you can because you didn't go Corsair. Yeah, that's fine. You can go Muta. Mutas are difficult units. You can go them, but just don't lose them. Go Mutas, and the number one thing isn't to kill Templars. The number one thing is to greed check him. Make sure he built cannons. Did he build cannons in his main? Did he build a cannon in his natural? Got a greed check. That's going to be your greed check. And so Hydra. Looks like he's pushing you, so you may actually need to trade it for Templars. Again, let's power out more Hydras. And... oh. Oh, it's really good. Nice. Keep those three alive, because you're gonna wait for them to regenerate. Cool. Go crush this army. You killed all this Templar. Or at least, appears you did. A lot of Hydras. Go crush him and go take the third that's rightfully yours. Control click, control click, control click. Go move out when you're third as well. Okay, let's keep up your macro. Good. Very good. Perfect. Alright, so this is the perfect time to spread out your overlords, because I should have overlord speed here, so just spread them out in safe locations, but do spread them out. You know, make sure to get one on your fourth base that you want to take. Here's where I would put down your third Evo if you haven't already. And here's where I would start making lurkers. Alright, be careful on that DT. They do kill Hydras fairly quickly. Alright, so here's the next step, which is you're going to want to re-drone your third base, because it only has 8 on it. And you're going to want to drone up for your fourth base as well. Other than that, you've reached a stage in the game where you just want to be making lurkers and lings. You've defended his push with your nice Hydras. Now all of your existing Hydras will slowly become into lurkers. The Hive is a little bit fast, so that's very risky, but it can be good. Just know that the Hive is fast. And you're using up a lot of gas that could be going into lurkers for it. So, again, let's lurker. Let's use up all of that gas on lurkers. Lurkers are how you survive, basically. You don't get lurkers, you die. So all of your gas, just constantly, whenever you have 100 gas, lurker. Everything else should just be drones and lings. Yep, it's good that you're keeping an eye on his expansions with those lings. But again, just lings. You have a lot of 3 larvae. Make sure to start control clicking larvae to do it quickly. By your third, control click larvae, Z. Third's at a lot of larvae. Yep. Okay. And you want lurkers to also protect your fourth, but looks like he's just going into it. So let's set up those lurkers behind him, and he may have trouble getting out. Okay. Yeah. So he hit a timing before your hive finished, where you had crack. It's just again, every lurker matters, and you want to spread them out so that it covers all of your bases. So, you know,
Makes so much sense. If I'm going fast hive, I'm sacrificing lurkers.
yes. Again, it is very much a razor thin margin that you're going off of. So like the gas that is invested into hive is what, like 3 lurkers,
Queen
and then
and plus hive,
also
yeah.
just spread them. Spread them to your 4th as well.
I feel like I had that engagement when I trapped him. Was it just that my lurkers weren't spread and he stormed them?
Yeah. So, well, you needed them at your 4th, so he was able to invade your position, and there weren't any lurkers there. So just small things of having like 5 or so lurkers there would make all the difference.
Should at my 3rd, I had all those units there. Should I have set the rally outside the ramp?
Very much so. Yes. So the 3rd only needs like 2 lurkers and 1 sunken to defend.
Right, because that
You
slowed
don't
down my defense.
Absolutely, yeah. But you had enough units at that point. It's just a matter of positioning your defenses. You did have the units you needed to have to defend that, though.
Awesome. And I shouldn't freak out that he double expanded.
Nah, no. You're fine.
Awesome. Well, I think they had to end the stream. I still have a time for a few more games, though.
Yeah, sure.
All right, guys. This is going to bring us to the end of the CPL Masterclass, our first Masterclass. So thank you so much, Hawk, for coming on and helping our players and doing this live coaching and helping everyone watching. We really appreciate it. All of you guys in the chat, be sure to keep an eye out for Hawk. He just won the NASL wildcard qualifier. So that's a tournament for North American players that's going to be put on by TDR, and it's going to be streamed on Africa. So keep an eye out for that. If you're not in the TDR Discord, you can join that, and you can look out for it on Team Liquid. So that's going to be a really fun event coming up. Don't let the fact that it's on Africa stop you from watching it. It's going to be casted by Doc Holiday and Seriosity, and Hawk's going to be playing in it. So definitely check that out. This week we have a couple more things coming up. Of course, we have an Apocalypse match tomorrow at 5 p.m. EDT. We also have an Apocalypse match on Thursday at 1 p.m. EDT and on Saturday at 1 p.m. EDT. The first one is a TVZ between Crazy and Cheap, and the other two are both TVPs. The first is MWK up against Mars, and the second is JPEG up against Thrive. We also, of course, have the match of the week on this channel with Sat Zero and usually Nablime, where they cast regular CPL League matches. That's a lot of fun. Come hang out and get to know the community. Just in general, if you guys are, I've seen like a couple people in the chat that don't really know what CPL is. Make sure you get on the Discord. We are drawing to this season to a close. So season 5 playoffs are starting probably on Monday, like a week from today. So it's coming to an end, but we'll have off-season events before next season. And CPL 6, we're hoping not to have a super long break between that and get that going like maybe at the beginning of August. So stick around the CPL Discord and hang out, and hopefully we'll have some other events for you guys. Yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate all the support for our events. Make sure you're also supporting the other content creators in the Brood War community. Like I said, NASL is coming up, and also BSL and STPL. So make sure you show Zero and Kick some love, because they're doing great things for us while everyone is stuck inside for the moment, and for StarCraft in general. But I would just like to say thank you to Hawk again for coming on. We really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, for sure. And also, I'd just like to say that I'll be hanging out in the CPL questions. If you guys have any questions through voice you want to ask me, I'll also just be doing some extra games with some of the students as well. So, feel free to hop in there. CPL Discord's quite an awesome place to learn and join with a good community. They're all friendly people. So
yeah, exactly. So if you guys are in the CPL Discord, like Hawk said, he's just going to be joining one of the voice channels in there. And I think Keen is actually going to go ahead and stream the rest of the games on Twitch. So that's twitch.tv/KeenBroodWar. or BW. I don't know if Sat0 can raid him if he's started his stream yet. But I think Hawk's going to keep doing some coaching, so that's great. But that's it for the recorded masterclass for today. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And thanks Sat0 for hosting.
Yeah, of course, no problem.
Thank you all for watching too.